Hi, this is Julie Campbell with Two Peas in a Bucket. For this month's Trendy Trios class, we'll be focusing on the trend watercolors. We will be making 3 unique cards from start to finish, and I'll show you different ways to incorporate watercolors into your projects. So let's begin with our first card. This is a coffee filter sheet from Christy Tomlinson. It's from her She Art collection, and these are really unique. I haven't seen anything quite like these on the market. And I'll just pull out one of these here. And as you can see, they are semi-transparent, and they feel just like the same material as a coffee filter. And they have some really nice text that's printed all over to create the design. So I'm going to start out by placing a paper towel down underneath of my filter paper. And for this project, we're going to be creating the watercolored look by basically painting on spray mists. I'm going to be using a couple of colors from Heidi Swapp from her Color Shine collection, and then also one color from Studio Calico, their Mr. Yui's spray ink. As the name suggests, the Color Shine mists do have a shimmer or a sheen to them, so you need to shake those up so that that shimmer does come through. So I just have wet just a basic paintbrush, and then just applying that color directly onto the filter paper. And the filter paper does, it holds up pretty well. I was surprised because I went over this several times and it stays intact, and I didn't have any troubles with it tearing. So I've just selected 3 different colors that kind of, I think, go well together and kind of build upon each other. It creates somewhat of an ombre effect as well. So you can just keep going over until you're satisfied with the color. Now you can see why I have the paper towel there underneath. So I want to quickly dry this, so I'm just using a heat tool to speed up the process. Since the paper is so thin, it does dry really quickly. So here is the dried filter paper, and I want to adhere it onto some white cardstock just so that it stands out just a little bit better and the colors will pop off the page. So I'm just going to place that over my cardstock, and then I'll need to trim the edges. And the adhesive works really well. I was also happy that you can't see the adhesive through the filter paper. So now I'm going to create basically the same watercolored effect, but on some basic white cardstock. If you feel like your brush is getting a little too dry, just add a little bit of water to it, and then just keep building upon the colors. And then once you're happy with the colors that you've created, just set this cardstock to the side to dry, or use your heat tool once again. This is a new stamp set from October Afternoon's Travel Girl collection, and it's called See the World. And this is the rubber stamp that's in this collection. It's got some really cute images, but there's also a clear stamp set that has some really unique travel-themed images as well. So I just need to remove the protective backing off of the stamp, and it's ready to cling right onto an acrylic block. So this is the cardstock that we just finished coloring a few minutes ago, and I'm going to go ahead and ink up the stamp set and then stamp it directly over the watercolored paper. I'm going to take that same image and then stamp it once again on some white cardstock. And now I'm going to bring back that original stamped image that we did over the watercolor, and I'm going to cut out just the dress on the girl. Basically, I am paper piecing. I wanted a watercolored ombre effect just on her dress to kind of bring out the background that we had colored earlier, just to kind of bring everything together. So just go right along that line. You'll end up having to cut the dress into a couple of pieces because her arm is right there in the middle. And so I'm just setting those aside, and I'm using some of my Copic markers and just adding a little bit of color. So now that my coloring is finished, I am going to be bringing out my Xyron machine. Basically, this is a way to add adhesive to the back of your little pieces of cardstock or small embellishments. But I really like using them when I'm using like tiny pieces that I'm paper piecing in place. It just makes it really nice and easy because it places the adhesive on the entire surface and it's not messy and it's just really simple to do. So now that I have her dress in place, I was wanting the girl to be blonde, but the color just looks too similar to the dress, so it needed a little bit of contrast, so I decided to change her hair so that she is now a brunette. So this is our original watercolored paper, and I'm just going to adhere the stamped panel right onto that. You can see my little stamping faux pas on the back side there. So you can see the colors that are in her dress just kind of blend in really nicely with that background. This is a sticker border sheet from that same Travel Girl collection. And I'm just placing this orange rickrack down the edge there just to give it a little bit more of a fun design. And then I want to stamp a sentiment. So to do that, I'm going to use one of these labels from, once again, that Travel Girl collection. And I'm going to use some stamps from Sophie's Sentiments by Lawn Fawn. I really love this stamp set because it has basically any sentiment that you would use on a daily basis in this stamp set. And you might want to check out the Lawn Fawn stamps that are in the 2Ps shop right now because as I was doing this video, I noticed that there are many of them that are, I think, even 60% off, so it's a great deal. Great time to pick up some stamps. So I'm just going to ink that in black, and as you can see, I kind of curved that stamp so that it will fit in between that label that I wanted to use. And I liked that green label because it coordinates really well with the bicycle. So I'm just taking the sticky off of this label by using my embossing buddy. Basically, it's talc powder. And I like to do this when I'm adding adhesive foam to the back because whenever you mail these items, if you don't remove the stick from the adhesive from the sticker, sometimes that sticker will flatten out on the areas that don't have the foam, if that makes sense. So by doing this, it just kind of keeps everything popped up. So I'm just kind of looking to see where I want this placed, and I think I'm just going to center it right underneath that bicycle. And I also noticed that this lawn fawn trim happens to coordinate perfectly with the watercolor paper. I didn't plan this at all, but it's called lawn trimmings. This cord is a corrugated color, and it goes from a pink to an orange to a yellow. So I'm just placing that on the other side just to kind of create more of a visual border on that white cardstock panel. So I'm just taping those ends in place. And the last step is just to adhere my card front onto a card base. I always like to do my card fronts completely before putting them on a card base because you never know if you're going to add some ribbon or some ink or something like that at the end, and you want the inside of your card to look nice and clean. For our second project today, I wanted to show you that you can also use watercolor products that are already manufactured. You don't have to create the watercolor yourself, which is kind of nice when you're a little bit intimidated by using messy products such as watercolors or inks. So this is from Amy Tan's sketchbook collection, and I think there are still a few pieces left in the shop, but it is a little bit of an older line. But these are actually in the shop right now. These are really fun. They're transparent pockets, and they have adhesive on the back, so you can use these in your mini books, and you can just kind of place memorabilia or pictures or little notes inside. But they're also great for card making, so I wanted to show you how that works. So I have my trimmed piece of watercolor paper, and I'm sliding that inside of the pocket. I liked this section of the paper because the bottom was green, kind of mimicking grass. Not sure if there would be a lot of grass in this big city, but I thought it kind of looked nice, and then the blue on the right to kind of mimic the sky. So as you can see, there are these little paper backings, basically protective layers, so that you can just remove those and you have a self-adhesive pocket. So I'm going to just adhere that right onto another piece of pattern paper. It's that same watercolor paper, only turned to the other side. So I've kind of framed that out, and as you can see, the top part is not does not have any adhesive, so it makes it really nice to add things. We're going to be creating a shaker card, and these are some wood veneer stars from Studio Calico, and these just came back in the shop. These are they seem to be a pretty hot commodity. They're hard to find sometimes, and so if you have been trying to get your hands on these little wooden stars, you might want to head over to the 2P shop right now. I'll have the link posted underneath this video. And I'm just kind of flattening these stars in place. And then I'm going to machine stitch the top so that now we've created a shaker card and the little stars will not fall out the top. It's just a really, just a kind of cute interactive card. I think your recipient would like that. So it kind of has a, now you have a night scene in the city. So I am just taking that panel and adhering that onto some cream cardstock. These are some word balloons from Pebbles. They're chipboard, and they also were on a steep discount in the store whenever I was creating this video, so you might want to check it out. They were a really great bargain. And as you can see, each shape comes, I think there are 2 to each of the shapes. There's several different types of shapes. And the front side is a craft, and then the back side is white. It's actually just the protective paper backing for the adhesive side, but it is matte, so you can use that side as well. Just kind of pick and choose if you want to use a white side or a craft side. These are some of the new, I think you pronounce them daubers from Hero Art, so basically ink daubers. And this one is Tide Pool, and I'm doing a very light hand because the ink is really pigmented, and I'm just trying to barely kind of add that ink over this chipboard panel, trying to get a soft look. These daubers are really fun, and they do make it really easy to add a pop of color. And this is the neon pink, and as you can see, I'm using that kind of this is how fast the ink does come out. It's just really, really quick to add color. So as I'm placing that onto my card, the colors are just a little extreme, a little too saturated, so I'm just placing them in my little spray box here, and I'm using some Mr. Yui's white and just misting over the top of them just to kind of tone them down just a little bit to help coordinate more with my card. We'll just set those aside to dry. So as you can see now, the colors match pretty well. I'm happy with the results. So I need to add a sentiment, and to do that I'm going to use some of these letter stickers from Lily Bee Design. I love these sheets because they come in such great colors, and as you can see, you get tiny letters and you get bigger letters, and there are lots of each one. So I'm taking actually a needle and just quickly placing those letters. I like using a pen or a needle because the oils from your finger don't get onto the letter stickers, and it keeps the adhesive stronger, I think a little bit longer. So here is the finished sentiment, missing you. So I'm just kind of like looking how I want to place everything. So I'm just using my regular adhesive, and that ATG tape runner has a really strong adhesive, so it works really well. And then for the other bubble, I wanted to use some of these wood veneer hearts. They're from the Hearts and Arrow collection, or the Hearts and Arrow set from Studio Calico. This is another embellishment pack that I just noticed is back in the 2P store. They seem to go just about as fast as the stars do, so you might want to take a look. These shapes are just really nice because you can use them for just about anything. I love the stars and the hearts. So as you can see, for this chipboard word bubble, I could just go ahead and peel that protective backing off because I used the craft side, and it adheres really well onto the card front. To adhere the hearts, I'm just going to use my glue gun. I'm just going to layer those. And that finishes up card number 2. This is a printable that is found in the 2P shop just for this month. It's by Marcy Penner, and I'll have a link as well. It's the link that you'll see under the video, so you can find this. Basically, you just download it to your computer and you can print it out on your printer, and it makes some really cute journaling cards for your project life, but it also works really well for scrapbooking and card makers. So I'm using some of these Polaroid frames from Ellie's Studio. They are from her newest collection, and I like this one because it has some fun confetti, and I'm just going to use that to frame over the top of this really cute sun that Marcy designed. So I've trimmed that out. I'm just kind of placing it on my card to see how everything fits. Now for this card, to add our watercolored look, I'm going to be using this stamp set from Hero Arts. And I really love this brush stamp set. It's a lot larger than I thought it was going to be, and I'm really happy about that because you can make some really neat watercolor or paint effects in a really quick amount of time. So I'm going to use this longer brush stroke image, and I'm just collecting some different inks that coordinate with the confetti that's found in that Polaroid photo frame. So these are some shadow inks from Hero Arts. I'm using those, and then some chalk inks as well from other collections. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit and go ahead and stamp out all those different colors. Now this isn't quite a watercolored look. That's kind of the look I was going for, but once I was done, it looks more like a dry paintbrush effect. But there are some other images in the stamp set that I think would give a more watercolored look. So I think I like all those brush strokes, and the colors seem to work really well together. So now I can go ahead and adhere the sunshine part onto my card front. This photo frame has a really perfect spot right here on the bottom for adding a sentiment, and I want this to be a birthday card, so I'm going to be using this It's Your Birthday stamp from Mama Elephant. And once again, just follow the links at the bottom of the video to help if you're trying to source all of these different products. They're all found in the 2Ps shop. So I'm just going to ink that up with my VersaFine black ink. I think that ink, it just produces a really clear image, and I have the best results with it. So I like the way that looks, but I want to add a little bit more color and embellishments to the bottom of the card. This is a washi sheet from Crepe Paper from their, it's one of their birthday collections that they have right now. And I love this sheet. I've used it several times. I think I've used it in some other videos, but it goes a long way. And basically it's washi tape that's all in all kinds of different patterns, and you can just trim whatever whatever amount that you need for your certain project. And then it has a protective adhesive backing, so you just peel that backing off and you have washi tape. I like all these numbers for this birthday card for a child. It's just really cute. And then the colors coordinate really well with everything we've got going on so far. I also want to add a little bit of twine. Just trying to find the end here. There we go. So I'm just going to wrap that around the panel and then tie it into a bow. I want the photo frame to kind of pop off the front of the card a little bit, so I'm using some foam adhesive. I think foam adhesive is just a great way to add some visual interest to any card whenever you can use it. It's a really inexpensive product, but it really adds a lot to your design. And then, of course, the final step is just adhering the card front onto the card base once again. Now, instead of using a traditional envelope, one of the things I love to do is use a glassine bag. These are from that same crepe paper party collection, and it kind of has a waxy feel to it. These are really cute bags, and it comes with several different designs in the pack from crepe paper. So you can just slide your card in, then add a little clothespin or some washi tape to the top. And here are just some of the other bags that come in that collection. So you get some larger and smaller of those glassine bags. And here is our finished card. So this wraps up this month's Trendy Trios class. I hope you've learned a little bit about watercoloring and some different ways that you can incorporate them into your own projects. And as always, for additional information or supplies, visit twopeasinabucket.com. Thank you so much for watching.